This session, we are going to learn about creating dynamic web pages in Node.js. And this session, we will be learning how to pass values from one EJS page to another EJS page, and how we can pass values or submit form data to the server, and how we can collect those data and display in another page. So before uh, we move forward, I'll show you what we are going to discuss today as an output, and then we'll come to the main session. So this is the application that we will be discussing today. This is a user management app created in Node.js. And in this app, what we are doing is we have three pages. This is the home page that is shown on the screen. Then we have a form here that will add users and store in an array. And then we have whatever user is added. Suppose we add a user Rahul. We enter Rahul at gmail.com and we add this user. This user is successfully added, and then we can see the list of users which have been registered through this app. So we can go on and add another user. All these users are being stored in an array. And when we click this all users page, we can see the list of users which have been registered, and the list of values which are there in the array. So we can move on. Each time we can add one user in this way, and all these registered users will be stored on the server in an array, and we can display those users here. So let us come to the code. When we come to the code, the important thing is that first we have to create app.js that we already know. Then we create a folder, views folder, where we create all the web pages. So we have an index page, we have an add user page. This add.js will add users. This is a nav bar at the top of the web pages. Then we have a success page which shows the users who are successfully registered, and then this users page shows the list of users which have been registered. So let us come to the app.js. We require Express EJS. This two packages we have already discussed, and this extra package that is required whenever we submit form and access form data is body parser. So we have to use this body parser as well. And here we are creating empty users. This is a list of users that will be stored here in the users array. So if I open a notepad, I'll try to show how these data will be stored. So suppose this is the users array. So at the 0th location, 0th index will have the first value that we have entered, that is Rahul, and Rahul at the rate gmail.com. Then the second user index is at one location, that was Ahmed, and we have Ahmed at gmail.com. And then we have this array, third element at the rate gmail.com. So at the beginning, we have this empty array. So if we run the program again, we'll not have any value in it. So if I terminate this application, I run this again, and when we come to the browser and we refresh all users, there will be no user, because the array is empty at the beginning. So at the beginning, we have an empty array, and suppose this is the empty array that we will be using to store the data. Now, this we already know. Now, whenever we use body parser, we have to use this application body parser.url encoded, and the property extended colon true have to be mentioned. What it does is whatever value we enter in the form, and we can get those values via the query string or via the post application. So all those values will be transferred from the form to the server. So we'll be using this. This is the new thing that we have used in this session, which was not used in the previous two sessions that we have already discussed. So in the previous session, we have used Express and EJS, and here we are using body parser. This is the new thing, and we are creating an empty array. Now, this is the URL. This is the home URL. Whenever this URL will be hit in the web browser, index page will be shown. Whenever add will be hit, add .ejs page will be shown. Whenever users will be hit, users page will be shown. And here we'll pass some parameters. What is this we'll be discussing. Then we have a submit data. Then we have in submit data, we'll discuss what is all this. And this is a 404 page. Suppose we hit some URL which is not mentioned, then there is the 404 page error will be displayed. How it is all happening, we'll see one by one. So I'll come to the output. When we start this program, and this is the home page that is displayed. Where is this home page? Let us see. So in this app, this is the default root. This is the home page index. So index.egs will be shown. And where is index? This is the index.egs page. In this index.egs page, if we see at the top, we have included the nav bar. So what is nav bar? Nav bar is the list of all menu that we are showing at the top in the browser. So if we see at the top of the browser, this user portal home, add users, all users and add user. This line is the nav bar. And this line has been created separately in a nav.ejs page so that all the web pages will include this nav bar, and all these pages will have the same nav bar, same menus. So if we see the nav.ejs, this is nav.ejs, which we have a you can see these are the hyperlinks. Home, whenever this home will be hit, this is the URL that will be accessed. Whenever add users menu will be clicked, then this is /add will be accessed. Whenever all users will be clicked, then this /users will be accessed. And whenever we have a add users button at the right hand side, this also calls the /add. So /add means this add.ejs. /users means this users.ejs. /add is again this backslash is for the index.ejs. So this is the nav bar. In the nav bar, we have this nav bar has been taken from the bootstrap document. So you can also copy this from the bootstrap document and decorate according to your requirement. Now, if we come to the index.ejs, so at the top, you can see we have linked the bootstrap because we are using navbar from the bootstrap. Now, in the body part, you can see we have user management app. If you come to the output, we have user management app. Then we have the second line, add users dynamically. Here you can see add users dynamically. And then these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. So you can see first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, and four paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, and 4 paragraphs data that is written. So this is simple. This is static page. This index.ejs is static page because all the information is statically shown here. So what is the in the index.ejs? We have a nav bar. This nav bar has been taken from the bootstrap documents. You can also copy any of the nav bar from the bootstrap document. Then we have added this part. This part is a div in which we have a h1 tag information, h2 tag information, and these are the 4 paragraphs that has been written. So index is clear. Now when we click the add users, so when we click the add users, what is happening? You can see in the browser we have /add. Now this /add, when we see in the app, what will happen when the user will click /add. So whenever the /add will URL will be hit, it will call add.ejs. So this add.ejs will be displayed. Now in the add.ejs, if you come at the top, we have this bootstrap link because we have this nav bar at the top. In between, we have a form, and in this form, at the top of the form, we have a add new user. You can see here, this is add new user in H2, and then we have a form, and then we have a submit button. So if we come to the code, we have a form, action is submit data. So whenever this form submit button will be clicked, this submit data URL will be hit. And what will happen when submit data URL will be hit is written in the app here, that if someone is clicking the submit data app, then these lines have to be executed. What is these lines doing? We'll see. First, we have to understand the add.ejs. So we have a normal form. This has nothing to do with Node.js because this normal form with input type text, this is taking name, input type email, this is email, and then we have a submit button. So this is a normal form, nothing special of Node.js in this. This normal HTML tags, all HTML tags only, and these are some of the CSS and the class that we have added from the bootstrap just for decoration. If we remove all these classes, the simple form will be displayed. So this is a form. Now when this form will be submitted, then this submit data will be called, and let us see what is happening in submit data. So in submit data, we have written that whenever the form is submitted, then we are creating a variable name. In this name variable, we are taking the value of the name element in the form. REQ is this request object. Dot body represents the form, the complete body tag, and in that body tag, whatever element is name, the value of this name element will be stored in this name. So if we enter Rahul, this name variable will store Rahul. If this is Rahul at the rate gmail.com, then this email will be storing Rahul at gmail.com. So whatever value is entered in the form, that value will be stored in these two variables, name and email. Now we create a temporary user as an object, and we store name is Rahul, email is Rahul at gmail.com in this, and then we push this temporary user value, name and email, in this users array. Where is this users array? This users array we have created here in line number 5. So we have created an empty array, and as soon as someone hits the submit button, this submit data form will be called. Then the form data will be passed on to these two variables, and a temporary object is created, and that object is passed to users. And then what we are doing up till this, what is happening up till this, the value will be here. If we can see the value at 0th index, it will store Rahul. If we enter Rahul, and the Rahul at gmail.com value will be stored. Now what is happening here, if you see, if we enter Rahul and rahul@gmail.com and submit this. So we get the submit data and registration successful for the user Rahul. So if you can see here, then after storing this value into the array, we are calling success.ejs page. So if we go to the success.ejs page, we have to see what is happening. So in the success.ejs page, we are passing the name and the email. Both value of the current user is also being passed to the success page. So whenever we have to pass value from one page to another, we get the value from the add.ejs page. These are the two values that are taken from add.ejs page, and these are passed to the success.ejs page. Now in the success.ejs page, what we are doing, we are just showing registration successful for, and here we are displaying the name. So registration successful for Rahul will be shown. Suppose we also want to display the email of this particular user, then what we have to do, we can add some more code here. We can write email, the value of email that has been passed will be displayed, and here we can use a paragraph tag. Suppose we use a paragraph tag, and in the paragraph tag, we can say that the email is this. So registration successful for the user this, the email is this, or we can say we will contact you on, and we'll display this. Now, suppose we want to see what will be the output. So we have to stop this. I'll stop this. I'll run the application again. And if we come to the output here, add user, I'll add one user, raj@gmail.com. And here you can see registration successful for the user Raj. We will contact you on raj@gmail.com. So if we see here in the add.ejs, what we are doing, when the submit button is clicked, the value of this element, input type text name, and the value of this element, name is email, is passed on to the submit data URL. And this submit data URL is mentioned here. This will receive the values that has been passed. So the value from the form is written like this: request.body.name and request.body.email. So those values will come to this part, name and email. And here we will be using a temporary object pushing the value to the array, and then we are calling the success function, success page, and in the success page we are again passing the name and email. And here in this success page, what we are doing, we are taking out those values. So this is how we pass the value from one page or one form to another page in Node.js. So this value is passed through the app.js. So first the value is received in app.js, and from there the value is passed to another file. Now if we go on pushing the values, suppose we add one more value, rahul@gmail.com. So if we go on passing, all those values will be stored, keep on storing in the array. This is how we can are adding users. So in this way, you can see that we are adding it to the array. Now, when we hit the all users menu, this /users URL will be called, and you can see in /users what we are doing. In slash users, we are calling users.ejs page, and we are passing the whole array. Here it was being passed only one value that was taken from the current form. And here we have to show all the users. So we are passing the users array as a whole to users.ejs page. So if you come to users.ejs page, here what we are doing, we are adding the nav bar. We are adding nav bar to each of these pages. If you can see the content of these pages, at the top of every page, you can see we have included the nav .ejs in all the pages. The same syntax is being used. Now in the users.ejs, what we have to do, we have to print all the values that have been stored in the array. So what we have to do, we have to use a loop to display all the values of the array. So suppose these are the values that have been stored at different locations. So this is how the array will be storing the value. And now to display these values, we have to use a loop. So we will be using this line number 18. Here we are starting a loop. And this is a normal for loop as we have used in JavaScript. This is JavaScript loop. So we start with index 0 because this is the first value is stored at 0th location. Then we are using users.length because we don't know how many records are there. So user.length will return 3 if there are 3 records. So I is less than 3, I plus plus. And in this, within this loop, we are displaying users 0 dot name, users 0 dot email. So Rahul and Rahul at gmail.com will be printed first time. Here we are closing the loop. So it will come again. I plus plus will increment the value to 1. So users one dot name will become Raj. Users one dot email will become Raj at gmail.com. Again, if we move to the next index, it will print Ahmad and Abad at gmail.com. And then again, when the I plus plus value will be incremented, the user's length condition will become false and it will come out of the loop. So these three values which are stored in the array will be displayed. This is how we pass values, store values in array on the server, and then we display whenever it is required. So these values will be there until the program is running, because as soon as we'll stop this, all the variables value are deleted because these are stored in temporary memory in the RAM. So whatever variable we create or whatever array we create, the values are there in the browser only till the program is running. Once the program will stop or the browser is closed, all the values will vanish. Later on, we'll have to start it again. But if we store these values in database, then these values can be accessed later on also. But here we are not storing the values in the database. That we'll see in the coming sessions. But we are storing the value in the on the server array. So this app.js is the server. In this app.js server, we are creating an array, empty array, and every time the value is submitted, this value will be taken from the form. These two lines will take the value from the form, store it in a temporary object, and push it into the array. So each time the value of the form will be stored in the array, and a success information will be displayed through this success.ejs page. So to pass a value to a page, whenever we render uh, the the page, we also pass the values. The values can be passed if there are multiple values, we have to pass in a name value pair separated by comma. If we can also pass the complete array, like in line number 18, you can see we are passing the complete array. So the complete array, all data will be passed. So this is how user information is passed and dynamic pages can be created. This success page is dynamic. The index pages is static. What do we mean by static and dynamic? In the index page, whatever is written here, that is displayed irrespective of what value the user enters or the user deletes. But in the success page, the value of this email, the value of this name will be coming from the form what the user will enter. So this page, the success page, is on response to a user actions. This page is generated dynamically. So there's a dynamic page, and whatever information is in the index, it is a static. The nav.ejs is static because these contents are not changing. The content of this page the content of users page will keep on changing because it is coming from the array, and the array the number of members in the array will keep on growing as soon as the user will enter some value in the array. The other data, the other content that we have written, these are pure HTML and CSS content, so we are not discussing this. These have been discussed earlier, and you can understand this because these are pure HTML and CSS tags only, nothing is special in it. The tags which are of Node.js, we are concentrating on these lines because these are the new things that we have been discussing in this Node session. So this is how we create dynamic pages. We create array in today's session. What we have learned how to store value in array, how to create dynamic pages, and how to pass values from one page to another page. The important thing, the new thing that we have to include in our app.js is the body parser. So before we execute these programs, you have to also install the body parser. Like to run a Node.js program, the first step is to init the Node.js that creates the package.json. Then we install EJS. Then we install the Express, and here we also have to install body parser. So npm I Express, npm I EJS, and npm I body parser will be required at the beginning of the program to create this application. Try to run all these things that we have discussed today, and if you have any issues, we'll be discussing.